Hello, and welcome to the evolution of zero trust data security. Today's webinar is sponsored by Rubrik and Microsoft and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we do have a few housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in our webinar control panel. Not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you have. A Q&A panel is also the place to let us know if you have any technical issues. A browser refresh will fix most audio or video or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources, and I'd especially like to call your attention to some great resources today. There's Rubrik's Zero Labs report. There's a Microsoft ebook, which is an innovator's guide to zero trust security. And there are links to register for Rubrik and Microsoft's Zero Trust Summit. There's also a link to find some upcoming events near you. So I encourage you to access those resources now and share them with your friends and colleagues. Third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $300 Visa gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during this live event to qualify for the prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can also be found in your handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the T's and C's there. Now, finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters. So to help encourage your questions, we have an additional prize for you. That's another Visa gift card, this one for $50, and that's for the best question. So after the event is over, we'll look through all the questions that had come in and pick out the very best one and contact that prize winner. So with that, let's get to today's fantastic content. It's my pleasure to bring on our presenters today. And let me go ahead and do that. All right. Well, welcome, Natasha and Srijana. Natasha, I'm going to turn things over to you to take it away.
Great. Thanks, Scott. Welcome, everybody. And like Scott said, my name's Natasha, and I'm joined here with my esteemed colleagues.
Hi, this is Srijana. Nice to meet you all.
And we're very, very excited to talk to everybody today. So thanks for tuning in. Really, we're here to welcome you on behalf of Rubrik to the upcoming Zero Trust Data Security Summit. This is the second annual summit that we've co-sponsored with Microsoft. And this is really a joint thought leadership event. And as you'll hear from Srijana and I today, that this is something that's going to have some practical advice for you, some really key knowledge, very interesting speakers, and we're going to dive into that. So, here this combination of Microsoft as a leader in security, compliance, and identity management, along with Rubrik, who is the pioneer in zero trust data security. We're very, very pleased. Thanks for joining us. And Srijana, do you want to comment on getting started?
This is a super exciting event, in my opinion. Like Natasha said, it's a joint event from Rubrik and Microsoft, two leaders in the security space. Both companies have been doing some amazing work and have even integrated their solutions to address some of the current security challenges we're seeing and helping organizations defend against cyber threats. So there's going to be a ton of learning, practical takeaways from the event, and it's a great opportunity to learn from experts and gain valuable insights. So yeah, I would say it's a wonderful event.
I think so too. And as you and I've discussed already, but we haven't shared with everyone else, we're really, really excited about the speakers. So let's dive into it. First and foremost, why should you do this? Why does a zero trust approach matter? And Srijana, I'd love you to talk about, for you and representing the research Rubrik has done on this, what do you think is top of mind? What is top of mind for you and should be top of mind for our listeners about what's happening in the market with regards to zero trust?
Well, I think managing cyber risk in today's world is so much harder than ever before. And that is mainly because these days data is everything, right? It's what makes our products, processes, records, everything work. And with this huge amount of data comes a huge responsibility, right? And that is to keep it safe and secure. And then, we're seeing that more and more companies are using cloud and SaaS to store and access their data. We're seeing employees working more and more remote, and it makes it all the more harder to protect all of that data. And of course, it doesn't help that cyber criminals are becoming more and more sophisticated in their methods. And in fact, a recent survey showed that 66% of organizations that were surveyed in a Sophos survey were hit with ransomware in the past year. That's 66%. So nearly every board, every executive, and auditors are asking questions like, are we sufficiently prepared to recover from a cyber attack? How quickly can we get our business back up and running? And how can we be more confident in our ability to recover from a cyber attack? And so we're seeing more and more that companies are turning towards zero trust, right? They really want to keep their data safe and secure. And zero trust was created because the traditional way of securing data wasn't working anymore. So cyber criminals found ways and are finding ways to bypass the perimeter and get access to sensitive information. And so organizations, they needed a new security model that adapts to the complexity of the modern environment. And so in response to these challenges, the concept of zero trust was developed in 2010 by John Kindervag. And it's the concept of zero trust is rooted in the principle of never trust, always verify. And it is designed to protect modern environments by using strong authentication methods and least access policies. And so the principles of zero trust are very much relevant today because it addresses the current security challenges, and which is why we're seeing more and more companies embrace the zero trust principles. So yeah, and what is top of mind for you, Natasha?
And I'll just put a couple pins on what you said. I mean, this combination, right, of increasing sophistication, more modern work needs for us to protect our data. And, even though the framework has been around for quite some time, one, we know that there is still work to be done. And then also just the nature of how cybercrime is evolving, the call to action right now is like, you have to continue to look at this, right? And so when I look at that too, I also think a lot about the changing workforce, and that this idea of incoming multi-generational workforce or groups that are here that maybe, incoming folks need to learn. Folks who have been around for quite some time still also have some opportunities to develop their skills and learn how to adapt. Scott mentioned it, but if you haven't already checked out the handout section that we have here, or you can go to Rubrik.com, checking out the Zero Labs report that has been produced by Rubrik, talks very specifically about this talent shortage that we have in cybersecurity, right? And we have some stats that cybersecurity jobs grew from 350% with 1 million openings in 2013 to 3.5 million openings in 2021, according to Cybersecurity Ventures. And when we look at the results in that Zero Labs report, this placing top talent was a number one challenge of organizations, followed by a few others. And so, I look at that, and I also look at the diversity element. We have reports that from Zippia that women only account for about 18% of CIO and CTO positions amongst the 1,000 largest organizations. And so we'll dive into this, how the summit's addressing some of these types of things, but I look at that as a pretty serious problem, right? Humans are complex beings, and taking that into consideration with the compounding factors you just mentioned of sophistication and need, it's like we have to use as many tools as we can to get smart as employees and leaders in our organizations to help with cybersecurity.
I fully agree. And that actually brings me to the next topic, which is that I'm super excited to tell you that the event is full of professional development opportunities, right? It contains information that can help IT and security professionals at any level of your organization. And plus, each session is designed to help take those learnings and use them immediately after.
Yeah, I agree. And oh, go ahead. And I mean, I think, we're talking about a couple of hours, over 15 speakers, 6 sessions, and, keep listening and we'll dive into what some of those details are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Natasha, something else I want to ask you about the collaborations that attendees can look forward to. So when we look at cybersecurity, we know it's not a job to be done by one person or one tool or in one sitting, right? Within individual organizations, we know that the teams that are taking the strongest stance with Zero Trust, they're focusing on ways that they can have greater visibility and cross-functional collaboration. So what can attendees expect with respect to this one?
Yeah. And I mean, top of mind, first of all, and one of the most important things for us when we were developing the agenda for this is, it is a thought leadership event, and it had to come away with some practical things, because Zero Trust is just an idea, isn't the spirit. It's also taking action and using these types of things, right? So each one of these sessions is designed to be representing different experts from Microsoft and Rubrik, and also peers of yours, other organizations who have lived this, figured things out, have things to share to help you get smarter, faster, and without the pain and time of having to go through a ransomware or any other cyber security incident. And so in that way too, and there is a session dedicated to working across teams, IT and security. So this idea of collaboration we see is really, really central and important for how each of you can come away from the event with something practical to do really quickly, right? Pulling other folks in to help have that discussion. And again, that can be, and you already mentioned this, we have content that's reaching all different levels of the workforce, depending on the level or types of responsibilities they have. And then at the macro level, this is a summit that is co-sponsored by Rubrik and Microsoft, which is a really strong partnership that we have that spans at multiple levels, particularly at the technical level, which is what I spend most of my time on as the product manager responsible for the joint partner strategy. And is purpose built for delivering Zero Trust technology. And I think that that's really important to look at, two industry leaders collaborating on not just building things, but also bringing the practical applications to that. So I think the collaboration bit is another key, why come, is to learn about how to make that real, and then also how to start doing it right after the summit.
That's amazing.
So moving forward, we want you to know that there are things that you can tangible things rather, that you can actually gain from attending the summit. And what are you most excited about from the takeaways that we know folks are going to be able to have?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I like that it's convenient. It's one summit, it's 3 hours, it's packed with the latest and greatest in cybersecurity. And the summit also provides a great opportunity to learn about Zero Trust and gain insights from experts in the field. And John Kinderwag is actually speaking at the keynote, and he is the creator of Zero Trust. So who better than to learn from, right? And so I think that it can actually save a lot of time and research. It's really an efficient way to discover new inspiration and tactics for implementing Zero Trust in your organization. And it's a great place to learn how your peers from other organizations are applying the latest in Zero Trust, the Zero Trust thinking and Zero Trust solutions to secure their data. And it's a great place to also find ways to make your security journey as smooth as possible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what about you, Natasha? What are you most looking forward to?
I've said the word a few times already. It's practical. I'm a very resourceful kind of person. And so I appreciate that a key focus of this has really been what can you walk away with? And each session is purpose built for having you be able to walk away with something, right? Some type of learning, some type of action to take back to your teams. I think that's really, really important because we can talk about frameworks and thought leadership, and that's one element, but you've got to be able to go back and do something with it. And on that same line, and we've already discussed this, but I want to highlight it again in terms of practicality. Professional development is really, really critical for cybersecurity positions, roles, and for your organization. And it does not have to come through in the form of certification or heavy formal learning all the time. And I think that this just a few hours with the variety and diversity that we have embedded in the agenda is going to be something that is very useful, right? It's timely, you can get it done, and then perhaps it sparks other learning, but at least starting there. Something else that is going to come out of that, so if we took it up a couple levels, is an understanding of really where your organization falls on the zero trust data spectrum, right? So how are you doing implementing that? Where do you have opportunities to improve? Where might you be doing some things really, really well? And then again, on a personal level, how might that help you to go further your research, dive a little deeper? But that understanding is something along that spectrum of where's the beginning and where do I keep evolving is also, again, at that higher level, something that's really important. And the other thing I'm alluding to there is like security doesn't have an endpoint, right? So this idea of consistently committing yourself to showing up and being as knowledgeable as you can, you are certainly going to walk away from this event with a better understanding of zero trust data security.
Awesome. That sounds wonderful. Speaking of which, I'm really excited about our speaker lineup this year. Natasha, who's your favorite speaker?
Being a woman in tech, and knowing what the stats are for cybersecurity in particular, I am super thrilled that we're welcoming Ann Johnson from Microsoft to co-host with our Chief Product Officer, Annika Gupta. And both of these women are incredibly, well, first of all, they're engaging speakers. So there's that. We want you to show up and have, again, some practical engagement with us and some interesting feeds. But both are very, very well versed in the area of cybersecurity. If you want to do some pre-reading or listening, Ann Johnson has a podcast. She's a pretty well-known speaker, and just rave reviews about listening to her and tuning in. So that to me is my first one I would mention. I have to say that if you're new to the zero trust framework, or you've been around it for a while, having the opportunity to listen to the creator, John Kindervag, this is a fantastic way to start or to refine your understanding of that journey. And with John, our co-founder, Nitro, will also be speaking. And I think that that's great when you can hear from a co-founder of a company that is pioneering a particular area, in this case, zero trust data security, the types of things that you can glean from them, the inspiration you're going to get, again, for your professional development or where your organization's at. And, one of our very exciting moments is perhaps seemingly tangential, but related is, we've just uncovered in a short amount of time the number of challenges all of us have in this particular space. And to have somebody come talk to us about the mindset that is needed to keep making progress in this area, that we're welcoming Coach K, right? So this is really, really exciting. And then in general, each of the sessions, you'll see that there is a great combination of your peers, Microsoft speakers, Rubrik experts. It's a really, really great, like we have here, an all-star lineup of intellectual and engaging speakers to listen to. So John, how about the individual sessions? What is your most exciting moment and or the things that you think that folks should pay attention to if they're listening in?
Well, obviously, there's the John Kinderback session, and then, of course, the maturity model session that Anne and Annika are leading. So the maturity model session, I think it's a great opportunity for you to really understand where you're falling on the zero trust spectrum and where are some areas that you can really improve. And so that is one session that I really like. But there are also other sessions that will focus on key topics such as IT and security team collaboration, best practices on how you can secure hybrid cloud, and also how you can really stay ahead of cyber attacks like ransomware. And each session will be led by industry experts from Rubrik and Microsoft, as well as customers, your peers, who will share their experiences, their best practices, and actionable insights that you can apply immediately in your own organization. And I also think that one of the highlights of the summit is the opportunity to hear directly in these sessions from peer organizations, especially like, we have a customer, Geldwin, who has a big hybrid cloud setup, and they have undergone a ransomware attack, and they really learned from it. And I think it's a great opportunity to actually hear from them, from their real world experiences. And I'm also looking forward to Coach K's unique perspective on leadership, team development, personal development. I think that would be a very interesting one too.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think, thank you for that, by the way. It's a great lineup. We think so. And just to kind of wrap this up and hit it home, right? We just laid down a bunch of information about the reason why there's a market condition. We have an increase in cybercrime and a need for us to do this. You're going to get certain things taken away. And you may be asking yourself some questions right now that we often hear about: where am I on this journey with zero trust data security? And so as you're looking at these questions and starting to get a sense of where your area of responsibility is and which ones are popping up for you most significantly, and where do you think that you land, we're going to go ahead and launch a poll for you to give us that feedback. And go ahead and just take a moment to pop that up. These types of questions are exactly what we're going to be addressing in the summit. All right. Again, the summit is February 28th. And as we are looking at the results popping in there, great. We'll give that a little bit more time while you finish that up. All right, and as we start to release those results, again, one of the outcomes that you're going to get, and just coming back to, peers of yours are also going to be there talking about how they've started to work on this. And it looks like we have a relatively even split between, in today's survey, of we've got some work to do, we're headed in the right direction, and we feel relatively prepared. And one of the things I want to highlight for what is going to be covered at the summit is a more concise way to start to measure where you're at. And so go ahead and take note of the answer that you provided here, and then take it with you to the summit, again, February 28th, and see if you can start to track through there a more clear understanding, and then plan on having 2 takeaways at least, if not more, for something that you could walk away from the summit to then bump you up to the next level, right? We fear nothing. We may want to keep a healthy level of concern, but the spirit of this is like, where are we going and how are we continuing to mature? So now that we've got those results, Sujana, could you go ahead and talk to us about other ways that folks can either prepare, so if they're already curious and they want to learn more, or also engage with us in some other ways?
Yes. So if you're interested in this event, which we really want you to attend, you can register for the event by scanning on the QR code on the right. You can also access the QR code in the handout section of your screen. And we encourage you to please share with your colleagues. This is a team effort. We really want to have your teammates join in and participate in the event. And if you can't make the summit, you can still register and watch the sessions on demand using the same link in the QR code. And if you're also interested in learning more about ransomware defense, you can also register for one of our upcoming Save the Data events. This is a unique, immersive experience where it drops you into a real-world type of ransomware attack, and it helps you to learn how to survive without paying the ransom. So don't let this slip by. It's a great learning experience.
Very, very useful in the same way that, hearing from your peers. So super stoked. Thank you again for all of your attention. We're going to come on over to some Q&A that folks might have. So let's take a look at.
Yeah, so we had a bunch come in, and this event looks great. I hear John Kindervag's name all the time in relation to Zero Trust. So I'm really looking forward to hearing his perspective there on the state of it, along with Ann Johnson and Annika Gupta. Just sounds like a great event. So there's a question here from Faiz, who's wondering, why is Zero Trust important in the current security framework?
Well, I mean, I think this is part of exactly what the event is going to be unfolding. And so Jonna, I don't know if you want to add to this, but this is a well-adopted framework that has proven data points for what we know is, again, the very difficult market with cybercrime and what needs to be done for organizations to keep themselves whole and to be able to be resilient against attacks. So there are a lot of layers to that. So Jonah, I don't know if you would like to add something else to that, but.
No, I think I totally agree with you. I think what organizations really need today is some sort of a technology that really encompasses the data protection piece of it, the compliance and security, and built in an architecture that ensures that all data access is authenticated and authorized, and to have really advanced security features such as encryption, multi-factor authentication, etc. So yeah, I think it's very much relevant to the current security challenges. And yeah, I think that is one of the key aspects of Zero Trust.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Elena is wondering, what levels of IT would you recommend attend the event?
Well, I think
Go ahead, Jonna.
I was going to say this event is applicable to all levels of IT, whether you're an IT practitioner, whether you're an IT manager, IT director, VP level. We have all sorts of conversations. You will be hearing from CIOs and CTOs and even CISOs in a couple of the sessions. And you will also hear from peers who are IT practitioners as well. So you will be getting some best practices that you can take back to your organization to implement. So yeah, anything else you want to add, Natasha?
I think that's a perfect, the pin or the extra wrapper I would add to it is just looking at a variety of people across your team. When you have to respond to a cyber incident, it's not limited to one team, right? There is an incident response team. So that would also be sort of a practical, logical place to start, and ensuring that all those folks are having the same education and sharing the same information. And I would hope also starting some new discussions with them after the event. So it really is designed for folks of all levels, and then also across different areas of both security, infrastructure, IT, there really is going to be something for everybody in each of those.
Okay. Super. And another question that came up here, they're asking about how you register for the event. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that previous slide with the QR codes back up. So if anybody missed those, they can grab them while we go on in the Q&A. And also there's a link in the handouts where you can register. Let's see. Oh, there's a question here from Sachin wondering if the event is open to attendees outside of the United States.
It should be. Yep.
And another one here, got a question. It looks like somebody's not able to attend at that time, but also for people who maybe have to step away. It sounds like a lot of sessions. People have to step away for a session or two. Is it possible to access some of the content after the event is over?
Absolutely, yes. All the sessions will be on demand post-event, so they can be accessed through the same link.
Excellent. We had a question here from Ed asking about key developments in Zero Trust data security. He's wondering how it's evolving, and I wonder if that's maybe something that is going to be hit on in this session. If in the event itself, if there are any sessions that you might want to highlight.
Yes, the session. Yes, the session with the first session of the event where we have Arvind and John Kindervag along with Alex from Microsoft. That is the one where they will touch upon that question. So great question. I myself am looking forward to that. So yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think we've run through most of the questions here. Natasha, any closing thoughts before we wrap things up?
The final thought is be open to inviting other colleagues to have a more collaborative discussion afterwards. Carve out the time, even if you choose to consume this on demand, and really, expect coming in that there are going to be some really good things for you to take away right away. The partnership we have with Microsoft, we really are, again, at the heart, it starts with the technical components, but we're here to make sure that you have the knowledge you need to be as resilient as possible. So we look forward to you taking advantage of that. And Srijana, how about you?
Yes, I really think it's a great way to find, takeaways, like Natasha said, and great tactics for implementing Zero Trust. This is one of the best events for Zero Trust this year, hosted by Rubrik and Microsoft. A great place to learn how your peers and other organizations are applying the latest in Zero Trust. Yeah, I really hope this event will make some of your security journey as smooth as possible. So hoping towards a great event and looking forward to see you all there.
All right, great. Well, Srijana and Natasha, thanks so much. Great preview of the event. I have to tell you, I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people in the audience are as well. So really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And before we wrap up, we do have one more piece of business. It is the $300 Visa gift card. And the winner of that gift card today is Tanisha Strickland from Oklahoma. So congratulations to Tanisha. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Rubrik and Microsoft for making this event possible. Again, be sure to grab those registration materials from the handouts here before we wrap up, if you haven't already. And that's going to conclude today's event. So have a fantastic rest of your day. And I guess we'll see you all in late February. Thanks a lot.